Here's a quick free lesson on how to start expanding your knowledge of the fretboard. I'm going to start very simple where I'm in the open G tuning. What I'm going to do to kind of start this lesson, the very base of this lesson, is we're just going to learn where our G notes are on each string within the first 12 frets. We're going to get all of our G notes memorized. Then in the next part of the lesson, I'm going to come up with a 3-note simple phrase or sequence of notes that are based around those G notes that you just memorized. And then you're going to be able to kind of on your own move from G note to G note and play that 3-note sequence around that particular G note that you went to. So instead of moving, just kind of memorizing the G notes, you're going to play an easy, simple phrase, but you're going to be able to learn how to play that phrase and move it all over the neck on your own. So this lesson is kind of set up that way. I'm going to show you where all the G notes are in the lesson. Then I'm going to show you the 3-note phrase that I'm going to use just for this lesson. I'm going to show you how to play it in a couple of obvious spots, kind of in a more of the open position. And then it's going to be up to you to kind of see if you can figure out all the other options you have within the first 12 frets of the guitar. And then after you've kind of reached your end, maybe you've found them all, or maybe you're just kind of curious if there are other ones, I will have them all tabbed out, and you can go ahead and download the tab and kind of check your answers, kind of like a crossword puzzle, if you will. You can kind of see if you missed any, or you can see if you found them all that I found. And then yeah, that's just kind of the point of the lesson, a little exercise. Again, that's just basing it off one note. So there's 12 other notes you could kind of do this with. There are many, many different sequences of notes that you could do this with. But I suggest starting simple. All right, so our first G note that we're going to memorize, you probably already have memorized. It's that 6th string open, which is our G string. And then on the 5th string, that G note is going to be at the 8th fret. On the 4th string, that G note is going to be on the 5th fret. Right? So we got open, 8th fret, 5th fret. Then the next 3 strings are going to be exactly the same, because remember our tuning is GBD, GBD. So everything lays out exactly the same. We got open on that 3rd string, 8th fret on that 2nd string, 5th fret on that 1st string. So a good way to do that is just to go up and down the strings. And then backwards. Alright, so once you kind of get those memorized, you can also make a mental note. Remember, we're just doing within the first 12 frets. So everything that's open, you can go ahead and visualize that one. So like on that 6th and 3rd string, we got those open strings, which are G. Go ahead and play them at the 12th fret too. Because those are definitely going to come into play for the next step of this exercise. So you just want to be able to visualize them, have them memorized as well. And we're just going to keep this really simple. The line I'm going to do, I'm going to start on that root note. I'm going to start on the 3rd string in this case, just because it's a very common place to start. And I'm just going to play the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, which is the A note, up to the 4th fret of the 3rd string, which is a B note. And if I'm counting in terms of my scale, it's G, A, B. Right? So I'm playing the root note, the 2nd note, the 2nd degree, and the 3rd degree of the scale. And my pattern is going to be root, or I'm going to call it 1. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 1. right? A very simple sequence of notes. Okay, so the point of the exercise is for you to play that sequence. How many combinations can you come up with up and down the fretboard playing that sequence based on those G notes that you just learned? So I did that on the 3rd string. Obviously I can do that on the 6th string as well in the same exact fret, so I'll go ahead and show you that one. Right? So the next step would be, get another G note off the 5th string, play that sequence. Go ahead and we did it on the 3rd string, do it off the 4th string. You can even combine certain things, like in the open position, there's actually 2 or 3 combinations of those notes that you can come up with and playing them a little different each time. It's going to be the same result for all these, but it's just good to have a lot of options to play the same thing and to play them all over the neck. Example being, if you're soloing and you're going up the neck, all of a sudden you start to maybe get lost, or your ideas start to run out because you're not that familiar with that area of the neck. You do some of these exercises where you just play some of your stock licks that maybe down here, and you can transpose them up here. You'll just have more of a safety net to fall back on in those moments of uncertainty. All right, so go ahead and take that note sequence, see how many different places you can play it up and down the neck, how many combinations of strings you can use. It doesn't always have to be on one string. You can play 2 notes on one string and then play the 3rd note on the next string down. See if you can find that pattern out. But yeah, when you run out of options, go ahead and download the tab and see if you got them all, or see if there's a couple that you missed.